Here we grow again. It's Season 2 for The War Within, World of Warcraft, released on March 4th, 2025. And with this brand new season brings new content and all the goodies that we expect to see in a brand new season. But in today's video, I'm actually going to be covering PvP gear and weapons. And for brand new players, what's involved when it comes to gearing up for PvP in World of Warcraft, The War Within. So no further ado, let's dive in and give it a look. Now, I am going to have timestamps, so you can go to the certain sections of this video that you're looking for. So how I'm going to do this is that I'm going to start off showing you folks the lowest item level PvP gear right up to the highest PvP gear. And again, this is only going to be for level 80s for The War Within Season 2. So to carry most of this off, first we have to go to the main town of The War Within and go to the PvP area of this town, which I am going to have this map, and I'm going to show you guys an icon to let you know where this area is. And this is where you're going to go, and this is where the PvP vendors are located, and even dailies and weeklies when it comes to PvP, and all the above. So now first up on our list is crafted PvP gear, and also PvP gear that you could sometimes buy from the auction house. Now, when it comes to the crafted gear, I'm not going to go into how you craft your gear in today's video. To be truthfully honest with you, I don't craft my own gear, so I don't have a lot of experience with this. But I am going to go over some light details that includes crafted gear. And there's tons of videos out there on YouTube that covers how to craft your gear in The War Within. And just a heads up for brand new players, if you ever want to find something in these major cities, just ask one of the gods that's walking around. Okay, now I have a tough time pronouncing this word, so just bear with me. Algeri, I'm not really 100% sure, but this is what the name of the main PvP gears are going to be that you could craft. So now, there is a vendor in the PvP area that I showed you on the map. He is going to be in the same building as all the other PvP vendors. And he's going to be the guy that you see to the far left when you enter this building. And he is going to be selling recipes for making gear. Prominently, PvP pieces of gear. And yes, even some weapons. Now, from my understanding, these are recipes that you want to buy if you craft yourself. So, if you're a blacksmith that can make weapons, you should be able to use these. And these are going to have the base item level of 545, which is going to increase in a PvP situation like arenas and battlegrounds to item level 606. So I'm assuming that most of the crafted gear here is going to have the same item level. Now, the crafting section in this video can be a little bit longer than the rest of the video because there is quite a bit involved. So say if you're not into crafting, you could actually hire other players to craft them for you. And these are called a work order. So in the main town here, where I showed you the map earlier, you're going to be able to go up to a god and just ask him about the crafting station. He's going to mark the map, so you're going to be able to find this. You're going to see two NPCs sitting behind a desk, and that's where you can pick or activate this list that I'm looking at right now. So here, all you have to do is either in the search bar, you can put in the item you're looking for, so on and so forth. But here I just picked plate, chest, and I hit search. And this is the result. So the first item that we're looking at in the green here, towards the bottom, called Draconic, that's actually from Shadowlands. That was the last expansion. So this is for level 70s. But the one that we're looking for the current game is the Algary, which is, we could see towards the top in the green. And this is where you could put in a work order for somebody to make this for you, which is going to have the base 545 item level, and it's going to go up to 606 in a PvP situation, like arenas and battlegrounds. So it's the same item level as the crafting recipes that we just looked at earlier. So if you're not sure how to do this, I recommend watching a video about using the crafting station for the War Within. And now the auction house. Sometimes players will make these and they could post them in the auction house because these are tradable. So you put in Algary, or whatever it's called, and you see if there's any results for these pieces of items and weapons. Okay, now I'm just going to mention one more thing when it comes to the crafting, because I think you folks are going to want to know about this. It's an item called heraldries. Heraldries is pretty cool because it's a way of making your crafted PvP gear even higher. Heraldries are purchased from, again, the same vendors that you've been getting your conquest gear, your honor gear, and all the above. Heraldries are also given to you randomly by doing PvP activity, battlegrounds, so on and so forth. After doing PvP objectives, you're going to notice those chests in your bags. Make sure you click on those and open them, because inside of those can be a heraldry. Now let me show you guys a little bit of how this all works. So to use these, we're going to have to go back to the crafting station and talk to those NPCs again sitting behind the desk. Or I should say click on them. Now I want to show you guys something first here. So I'm going to open up the list here that they have of all their gear. And we're going to click on, or I'm going to mouse over some of the PvE gear. This is PvE gear. Once you find a piece of gear or the recipe within this, click on it again and it's going to open up this second screen where you could add additional embellishments and things like that. But now if we notice, the PvE makes don't have the slot for a heraldry. And clicking on a few other PvE makes, we're still going to see that there's no slot for the heraldry. So again, heraldries are only made for PvP gear when it comes to crafting or having somebody craft your PvP gear. Alright, so now let's click on the Algary gear in the list, which we could see is made for PvP. And now if we click on it again, we're going to see that there's a slot right on the top that accepts heraldries. Now for most of these, it's going to require more than one heraldry. It's going to be the same type of a heraldry, but you may need 4 or 5 of them. Once you click on the X that's in the center of the heraldry slot or box, it's now going to open up a little menu of all the different heraldries in the game, even if you have these or you don't. Now once you have the required amount needed and you want to use the heraldry that you have and add it to this make, it's going to show you now in the stats of this piece of gear how much it went up. So now instead of just being a 606 item level in PvP, it'll be as high as a conquest piece, which is item level in PvP of 673. So yes, in short guys, your crafted piece can be just as high in a PvP situation as the top PvP gear in the game. And I also want to mention too, before moving on, is whichever type of heraldry you want to buy is the type of currency you're going to need. So for a conquest heraldry, you're going to need conquest points. And for the honor heraldry, you're going to need honor points. Alright, now it's time to move on in the video with the PvP vendors, so the actual PvP gear. So the first one we're going to be covering is the honor vendor and honor gear. So again, we're going to head inside the PvP room and we're going to see the PvP honor vendor. So on the right hand side of the building, standing next to the conquest vendor, is also the honor vendor. So once we click on him to look at the wares that he sells, we're going to see right here that we're looking at a prized aspirant's greatsword. So as we could see, most of the honor gear is called prize aspirants. And these are going to come in at item level 597. And they're going to increase in a PvP situation like arenas and battlegrounds to 665. And of course, the currency you're going to need to purchase these are honor points. And then we could see right here that we're looking at a pair of leggings. So this is prize aspirant leggings. And again, the item level is 597. And it's going to increase in a PvP situation to 665. And if you look at the top, you're going to see upgrade level. Most of these are upgradable 8 levels. We're going to talk a little more about that later on in the video. And then if you look through the pages of each one of these vendors, you're also going to see items that they also sell too for honor points. So honor points is something you could really get a lot of these. And what's cool about it is that you still get honor points by completing a battleground without actually winning it. You just do get more honor points if you do win it. And the cap of honor points is 15,000. So you could hold up to 15,000 at any given time. So now next we're going to put our attention to the vendor here that's for war mode. So yes, by doing war mode activities, which is world PvP in the game, you are able to accumulate this currency called bloody tokens. And then bloody tokens is eventually going to be used where you could purchase powerful weapons and gear from the vendor. The war mode vendor is located in the same room as the other vendors. He's the guy straight ahead in the back as soon as you enter this building. To activate war mode, you got to open up your talents, and then to the far right where your PvP talents are, you're going to see war mode. If it's lit green, then you are opt-in to war mode. And then you will also see a buff on the top next to your guy called enlisted. While you are in enlisted, you are also going to get gold rewards from World Quest increased by 10%. This is just a little incentive to have more players opt into war mode. But now keep in mind, once you're in war mode, you're open game for other players. So the opposite faction is going to be able to attack you at any time, and in certain zones, your own faction can also attack you. But most of the times, it is faction versus faction. Now let's take a look at the rewards that this guy has for completing war modes and getting some bloody tokens. Okay, so it seems like the items that he carries is called prized warmongers. So as we could see, we're looking at a two-handed sword right here, and the item level of this is 632, which is going to increase to 675 in arenas and battlegrounds. And then what we're looking at right here is a chest that he carries, which is again item level 632, which is going to increase in PvP like arenas and battlegrounds to 675. And these are also upgradable. Okay, moving on. We're going to go now to my favorite PvP gear in the game. And this is Conquest. The Conquest vendor is standing next to the Honor vendor in the PvP room. Now let's discuss a little bit how to get Conquest and how the Conquest works. There are many ways of getting Conquest points in the game, although they don't come as easy as Honor points do. So each day, if you go to do, say, your random battlegrounds, each one, if you mouse over, is going to show you how much Conquest points you're going to get for that win. Now, what's different between Conquest points and Honor points is that Honor points you could still get some, even if you don't win that battleground. For Conquest points, you have to win that battleground. So for example, once you get your first win for an epic 40-man battleground for the day, it's going to give you 125 conquest points. And then if you do any additional epic battlegrounds thereafter during that day, it's going to give you a lower amount. And weeklies and dailies can also reward you with some conquest points. That quest will let you know how many conquest points you will get. Now, rated PvP is some of the highest PvP activities in the game, so that includes arenas, actual RBGs, so on and so forth. Those will give you the most conquest points in the game. Another great way of getting conquest points in the game too is that every now and then, I think it's like every 17 or 20 minutes. I don't know a lot about these. I haven't gone after these myself lately. And it's what I call airdrops. So this is an airplane that's going to spawn every now and then, and it's going to drop a supply crate. Now, whichever faction gets to that supply crate first and claims it, wins that crate. And all the players for that faction that happens to be where that crate is going to be able to loot it, and inside is going to be some goodies, including some conquest points. So, if any other players know more about this, please leave a comment down below. Thanks. So now that we got ourselves some conquest points, let's go and spend some of these and get ourselves an awesome piece of gear or weapons. So we got to go to the conquest vendor, which is located standing right next to the honor vendor. And the first piece that we're looking at right here is a chest piece, and this takes 875 conquest points. This is going to be sitting at item level 636. It's upgradable 8 more levels, which I'm going to cover in just a bit. And it's going to increase in a PvP situation like arenas and battlegrounds to the whopping item level of 678. And then next we got a trinket. And this trinket costs 700 conquest points. Some other trinkets may be a different amount. So again, this trinket's going to be sitting in item level 636, upgradable 8 levels, and it's going to increase in a PvP situation to 678. And I want to mention too that the conquest names now for this expansion is called Prized Gladiators. And if we notice something else, some of the trinkets even come with a set bonus. One thing I want to mention is that when it comes to conquest, they don't have any two-handed swords. So you may see PvPers with a two-handed sword. Odds are those were crafted. But they do sell a two-handed sword for honor points. So now we could see that why conquest is the top PvP gear in the game. Alright, so we finally covered all the PvP gear and weapons in the game for the War Within level 80s. Now next, it's about time I show you guys about upgrading your gear. So in the main town, if you go up to any god and you check their list, just click on upgrade, and then he's going to mark your map. Now once you're at the upgrade station and you have the upgrade window open, any items that can be upgraded will be lit up in your bags. And then any gear that you actually are wearing can also be upgraded as long as it says on the top that it's upgradable by like 8 levels. Alright, so once you pick a piece of gear or weapons that you want to upgrade, just drag them to the box with the cross in the middle. And then you're going to see on the left side of what your current gear is at, and then on the right what it's going to upgrade to. And then if you mouse over the bottom, you're going to see that little currency window. That's going to let you know what items you're going to need to pull off this upgrade. So for the piece that I put in the upgrade window right here, it's going to call for 20 Valor Stones. Valor Stones are given to you by doing many things in the game. By doing quests, raids, dungeons, battlegrounds, arena matches, you name it. Pretty much everything in the game is going to give you some Valor Stones. And then you just hit the upgrade button and it's all set. So now if you do have enough Valor Stones, I could level this all the way up 8 levels. Now I'm going to upgrade a conquest piece. So I'm going to open up my character pane, and I'm going to get my shoulders, because those are conquest shoulders. And I'm going to drag them in the slot. But now the higher the piece is, the more currency it's going to ask for. So to upgrade this one level, I'm going to need 120 Valor Stones. And then I'm going to need 15 of these carved undermined crest. I actually don't have any. The reason why I don't have any is because I haven't been doing really any PvE. And to get these, you got to do things like mythics, you got to do the delves, and even weekly outdoor events. So maybe doing any weekly PvP wise that's outdoors will give you some of these. But I'm really not sure. So yes, depending on the gear that you want to upgrade, you just gotta check the total cost, and it's gonna let you know what items you're gonna need. Alright, now for the breaker. The reason why I'm not too concerned about upgrading my PvP gear is because upgrading your PvP gear doesn't do anything for PvP. That's right. This is only if you use your PvP gear to do raids, dungeons, and even going out and doing quests. It will make your gear stronger. But in a PvP situation like going into a battleground, they do not upgrade. So for conquest gear, if it says that it's going to go up to 678 in a battleground or an arena, it's always going to remain at 678. But the cool thing about this is that if somebody just wants to use one set of gear and do both PvE and PvP in the game, this is going to make it where you can. Even though the top raid gear in the game may be that much better for a PvE situation. Okay, last on our list for today's video is called the Catalyst. A lot of PvP gear and weapons that you get don't have any set bonuses, except for the trinkets and a few other things. Well, the Catalyst is a way that you could get set bonus added to your gear. And it's located just outside the engineer shop. The gear that you could add to the Catalyst is either your helmet, your shoulder, your chest, your hands, and your legs. So once you click on the Catalyst, it's going to open up your bags also, and just like the upgrader, it's going to show the items that you could actually use in the Catalyst is going to be lit up. And the same with your character pane. So any items in there, some of them you will be able to use on the Catalyst. Now, I do advise don't waste this on like honor pieces. I would recommend waiting until you get conquest. So you're just going to add this to the slot of the Catalyst, and then on the right hand side it's going to show you what the piece of gear is going to look like once it gets applied with the set bonus. Next, of course, you're going to see the item you're going to need to pull this off, and it's called the Essence of Kajamite. The Essence of Kajamite is not something you have to go out for and hunt for. The game's going to give you this every 2 weeks. So now we're going to notice the set bonus for this shoulder that I have right here. So we could see that it's got a 2 and a 4 set. So saying this is the only piece that I have right now, that's why it's not lighting up. So if I had, say, like the pants, the conquest pants, it would then light up as a 2 set. And that's what I would get as a set bonus. So this is another way of getting your gear that much stronger. And no, this does not work on weapons. And now your PvP gear, or some of it, can now have set bonuses. Now I just want to mention one more thing, then I'm going to wrap up the video. There is no PvP anymore when it comes to the Great Vault. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there. So anyways, folks, thanks for sticking by and checking out this video. I hope it helped you. I know it's rather long, but I did cover a lot of things in today's video. And you should not be scratching your head anymore when it comes to getting PvP gear and pretty much how it works. So I want to thank you guys again for checking out Wise Gamer. Feel free to sub up and all that good stuff. It helps supports the channel. And after all, this is all free to you. And until the next time, you folks have yourself a fantastic day.